What is going on? So I guess we're going to talk a little bit about the Canon G7X Mark II, and does it make sense to get this camera in 2024? And I think the answer to that is it really depends. This is actually my second G7X Mark II. Destroyed the last one. I loved it so much this last year I bought another one. Was able to find a new one. Long story, you guys probably heard this before. But anyways, you know, the only other real competitor in my eyes is the Sony ZV-1, which is right here. And these are two comparable cameras that people are trying to figure out, which one do I want to get? Do I want to get the G7X Mark II? Do I want to get the ZV-1 or the ZV-1 Mark II? We'll get into that another time. I ended up getting both of them. I use them for kind of different purposes. So we'll just get into what are you going to use the camera for. So I think for the G7X Mark II, I like it better than the Mark III because I think the Mark III's autofocus for video sucks. Now for photos, it might be fine. This camera, the build quality, they don't make cameras like this anymore. I don't even know what this, it's like a metallic type of material. I didn't look on the specification sheet or what this is. The bezel is metal. Just the build quality, the weight of this thing is unbelievable. This, without the cage, feels really cheap, very plasticky. Does it perform well? Another conversation, but it does. This is like my work BTS camera. So this camera though, for my hiking, my family vlogging, for documenting my life, I mean, I could probably use it for behind the scenes at work, but I tend to like to use this one. It takes a licking, keeps on ticking. As I mentioned, the bezel is metal. The Mark III, the bezel's like some plastic thing, and I'm not even sure that it rotates to my memory. You can switch this to declick it, so if you want to change your aperture, these are manual, by the way, so you can shoot in this camera manual, which is fantastic. You can actually manual focus this with this bezel, and you can hit this little switch here so that if you want to change the aperture, if the room light changes and you want to make it nice and smooth and, you know, cinematic, I think that's the word. Do they even say that anymore? Is that a thing still? Anyways, I think the build quality on this thing is amazing. I like the flip screen up like that. I shoot a lot. I shoot like down here. So for like street photography, I just kind of look down. It's super inconspicuous and pop off my shots. It's amazing. So I think if you like, oh, here's the other biggie. Here's the clincher for me on why I didn't. Well, I like the look. The look of this camera, it's sharp enough, but it's not freaky deaky crazy sharp. This thing, freaky deaky crazy sharp. You gotta have it. The good news is it's got some special settings that you can fix that, because old people and women don't like you to be able to see the varicose veins in their nose and every single pore and blackhead on their face. So there is a face smoothing function on here. There's like 3 levels, so it's workable, but I don't need that sharp. It's nice that it's that sharp. If you're a Sharpie person, you like your stuff super sharp, want my stuff sharp, it's just not sharp enough. If you're that kind of person, you'll love that thing. I don't like that. I like the romanticism of film. I like it a little bit smoother, and this is just sharp enough and smooth enough that it makes people, you know why I like that? It makes people look good. It makes people look good. Now, I get it. If you're a 21-year-old Instagrammer, look, we were all 21 once. I think most of us, if we look back, were pretty dang hot at 21. So if you're a super smoking hot 21-year-old, you know, it doesn't matter if you're in super duper duper sharp and 4K, right? But for most people, if you want to make them look good on camera, I think this camera does a great job of that. It's got a flash. If you've got a background that's lit, like somebody standing in front of a window or the sun's behind them, you can pop out the flash. It's amazing. Somebody's wearing a hat, the sun's going down, you want to get the sunset behind them, and you also want to get them. If you're a photographer and you're using this for going out at night, or you're taking a lot of shots where the light changes a bit, I think this thing's indispensable. You know, you've got a great little flash. It's going to save your shots. Unless you're shooting, I guess you could shoot in RAW and shade. It's just a different look, though. You shooting with flash is different. So I think if you want photography, flash photography, and very good video, this thing is amazing. Now, it only shoots 1080, so if you're a 4K person, don't even think about it. This is really for somebody who digs for, 1080. I shoot my kids' sports with this sometimes. Mainly, so it's only got like 100 millimeter equivalent on the zoom. So not all sports are good for this. So for like wrestling, maybe if you're going to something where you're going to be maybe 50 to 60 yards, or no, 30 yards or so away. I think somewhere you're going to be relatively close, like a basketball game might be okay. It's not going to get the other side of the court. For wrestling, this thing does really good. So I get some sports with it, but I think for documenting my life, for what this was designed for, which was vlogging, this was really Canon's OG vlogging camera, and they did an amazing job with it. I was really disappointed with the build quality on the Mark III. I don't really shoot that much 4K, so I bought this and I love it. Now, did I get caught up in the whole hype of maybe I'm missing out on something, and I was in Best Buy and I freaked out and I bought this guy? Sure. And I think the reason I bought this guy, and that's going to be part of the downside for this, is there are no mic jacks. So for documenting your life, this mic is really good. You can buy like these little wind screen covers so that if the wind's blowing, it doesn't sound as bad. This one has one that they thought of everything on that thing. But for documenting my life in many BTS scenarios, this thing's really good. However, if you want to really vlog or use this as your content creating machine without going into like a higher end mirrorless camera with independent lenses, then I think this thing is great, right? But if I wanted professional audio or better audio, I needed a mic jack. So I got suckered into this because of the mic jack. So if you need a mic jack, you need 4K, don't buy this camera. If you want something you can shove in your pocket, you can take it on the trail, you can bang it around a little bit. Can't bang it around too much. I destroyed one, dropped it in the water. That's what GoPros are for. Didn't know that. That whole chain of events cost me a GoPro, one of these and one of those. It was a big mess. I spent way too much money. Don't do that. So if you're just looking at one or the other, I think, if you don't need the mic jack, you want something cool to travel with, this is it. I love this camera. Love this camera. This is my go-to for real life, regular life, not working, living my life. And even like, as a hobbyist, what do they call that? Street photographer. This is my go-to. I mean, I try and take my mirrorless cameras with the extra lenses, but if I'm with my family or friends, it's just too bulky. So I'll take this in my iPhone and maybe my Olympus stylus for some film shots, and that's it. So that's it. So 2024, I think for documenting your life, if you like photography, this is it. This is your jam. If you need some more bells and whistles, like you need a mic jack, you need 4K, then I think the Sony ZV-1 they did a really good job. It's don't get me wrong, actually the pictures come out pretty good. The video comes out, it's just so sharp. It's actually really, it's like Sony's super duper sharp video-y. It's almost too good. The image is like so good, you just know it's video, right? I think a lot of people like that. Does it look good to most people when I shoot with it? It looks good. I use it for behind the scenes at work. But in 2024, like I said, this is still a jam and popper. I don't know what the hell that means, but I just said it, okay? So I would say yes. I would say yes under those conditions. You don't need a mic, you don't need 4K. You want to run around with this thing, bam, boom, pow, in the field. This is your baby. And I think I'm talking too much, so we're gonna sign off. Thanks a lot. Take care.